Matthew chapter 2, NLT, verse by verse, starting in verse 1. Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea. Bethlehem was a town. Judea was the region during the reign of King Herod the Great. There was also Herod Antipas, who beheaded John the Baptist, Herod Archelaus, Herod Philip, whose wife was Herodias, which Herod Antipas took for himself. About that time, some wise men from eastern lands arrived in Jerusalem asking, "Where is the newborn king of the Jews? We saw his star as it rose, and we have come to worship him," worshiping a baby, like they worship a baby in this chapter. That is what is so amazing about these wise men worshiping a baby. King Herod was deeply disturbed when he heard this, as was everyone in Jerusalem. He called a meeting of the leading priests and teachers of religious law and asked, "Where is the Messiah supposed to be born?" "In Bethlehem in Judea," they said. "For this is what the prophet wrote, Micah 5:2, and you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are not least among the ruling cities of Judah. For a ruler will come from you, who will be the shepherd of my people Israel." Then Herod called for a private meeting with the wise men, and he learned from them the time when the star first appeared. Then he told them, "Go to Bethlehem and search carefully for the child, and when you find him, come back and tell me, so that I can go and worship him too." So Herod the Great wants to go and worship a baby. He's obviously lying. He's trying to deceive the wise men because he wants all the worship for himself. After this interview, the wise men went their way, and the star they had seen in the east guided them to Bethlehem. It went ahead of them and stopped over the place where the child was. It's like Mario with the sun. You know, in the game, the sun is following Mario. Just amazing. The star is leading them to Bethlehem, to Jesus. So Jesus was, roughly a couple months old to 2 years old at this time. This is not, the shepherds, with the manger, visiting Jesus, seeing Jesus. Jesus is older at this point. So verse 10, when they saw the star, they were filled with joy. They entered the house. So they entered a house. So Jesus wasn't in a manger, he was in a house. And saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. They worshipped at most a 2-year-old. Then they opened their treasure chests and gave him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So I wrote this down. Frankincense and myrrh, tree resin. Frankincense and myrrh are both aromatic resins that come from trees highly valued for thousands of years for their use in religious rituals, incense, perfume, and medicine. So I know that we hear this story, this account each year, and we don't even know what frankincense and myrrh are. So verse 12, when it was time to leave, they returned to their own country by another route, for God had warned them in a dream not to return to Herod. God still uses dreams. 4 times Joseph was warned in a dream, 3 times by an angel. And so God is constantly warning through dreams. And again, that's mentioned by Elihu in Job chapter 33. God speaks in dreams. He spoke to, Joseph, the earthly father of Jesus, in dreams. He also spoke to Joseph, the king of dreams, the book of Genesis, through dreams. I mean, he's the king of dreams. At least that's a movie. It's a good movie. So verse 13, after the wise men were gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. So 4 dreams for Joseph. "Get up, flee to Egypt with the child and his mother," the angel said. "Stay there until I tell you to return, because Herod is going to search for the child to kill him." That night, Joseph left for Egypt with the child and Mary, his mother, and they stayed there until Herod's death, Herod the Great. Joseph is always obedient. God speaks to him in a dream. He's always obedient. This fulfilled what the Lord had spoken through the prophet, "I called my son out of Egypt." That's Hosea 11:1. Hosea and his unfaithful wife, Gomer. "Out of Egypt I called my son." Hosea 11:1. God also calls Israel his firstborn son in Exodus 4:22 through 23, I believe. Herod was furious when he realized that the wise men had outwitted him. He sent soldiers to kill all the boys in and around Bethlehem who were 2 years old and under, based on the wise men's report of the star's first appearance. Herod's brutal action fulfilled what God had spoken through the prophet Jeremiah. A cry was heard in Ramah, weeping in great mourning. Rachel weeps for her children, refusing to be comforted, for they are dead. So when Herod died, Herod the Great, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt. "Get up," the angel said. "Take the child and his mother back to the land of Israel, because those who are trying to kill the child are dead." So Joseph got up and returned to the land of Israel with Jesus and his mother. always obedient every single time. But when he learned that the new ruler of Judea, that region, was Herod's son Archelaus, just a whole family of Herods. But when he learned that the new ruler of Judea was Herod's son Archelaus, he was afraid to go there. Then after being warned in a dream, another dream, he left for the region of Galilee. So the family went and lived in a town called Nazareth. This fulfilled what the prophets had said. He would be called a Nazarene. So that prophecy is not actually in the Old Testament. And so, I mean, the Catholic Church, they believe that this is a collection of prophecies, like systematically in the entirety of Scripture, but it's not a single verse that would point to he will be called the Nazarene. So again, there's different answers for that, but ultimately, every single time, just for the record, Joseph was obedient to the Lord. 4 dreams every single time, even when it came to his wife